My crossbow doesn't fire when I pull the trigger. What should I do?
The answer usually stems from understanding the G2 trigger. It's very complex, very precise, and has a lot of moving parts. Let me demonstrate 3 of the reasons why your trigger may not be firing when your crossbow is cocked and loaded. One, and the most obvious, is that the safety mechanism has not been disengaged. We have an ambidextrous auto-engage safety, and it's an exposed lever right here. If you see the green dot, or the lever is in the down position, that means that the safety is on. For the crossbow to fire, simply just flip the lever up, exposing the red dot, and if you want to remember red is dead or red for fire, that will tell you that the crossbow is hot or the crossbow is ready to be fired. If that doesn't disengage the trigger and allow the crossbow to fire, then move to the front of the trigger and examine the retention spring. In previous models, previous to 2009, the retention spring, which is this part right here, was manufactured out of metal. The metal sometimes could get bent, and you need the retention spring to be functioning properly. The retention spring has to push down on the arrow. That's important because as you slide the arrow in, it has to slide over top of the anti-dry-fire tooth. I'll pull this back again. There's a little tooth right here, right there, and it has to be pushed down, which will disengage the sear. Let me show you that a little bit closer with this little illustrative part right here. Imagine this Allen key as an arrow. It has to slide over top and push down on the anti-dry-fire tooth right there. By moving that out of the way, it allows the sear to disengage the latch. By disengaging the latch, it allows the string to fire. If the arrow is sitting here in front and not over top, or if the arrow doesn't have any down pressure imparted on it from a broken or malfunctioning retention spring, then the trigger will do its job and it will not fire. The anti-dry-fire device is designed to save your crossbow from breaking, or like we like to say, save it from blowing up because you didn't shoot it with an arrow in it. So engaging the anti-dry-fire mechanism is one of the factors that contributes to keeping your crossbow working properly and safely. Okay, let's move on to number 3. Let's assume that now that the arrow is seated firmly against the string, the moon knock is engaged in the back of the string, the anti-dry-fire device is depressed, and the crossbow still doesn't fire. Very likely what has happened, and this is point number 3, is that the anti-dry-fire device has been engaged, which means that the trigger was pulled without an arrow in it. And it's a very subtle click. Let's head out to the range and I'll demonstrate it for you right now. All right, now I'm going to demonstrate here that the anti-dry-fire is actually doing its job, and this is one of the things that may be causing your crossbow not to fire because the crossbow has already had the anti-dry-fire engagement. So watch this. I'm going to take the safety, put it to the fire position, and you'll take note that there's no arrow on the barrel. If I squeeze the trigger right now, the bow will not fire and the anti-dry-fire will engage. It's doing its job. Ready? Did you hear that click? That click was the sear not allowing the anti-dry-fire mechanism to disengage, letting the latch go. If you tried to shoot the crossbow now, even with the bow in the fire position, you might be experiencing this. Nothing happening with the trigger. At this point, the trigger needs to be reset. Even if you attempt to load an arrow and shoot the crossbow, you're not going to be able to because the anti-dry-fire mechanism being engaged will not allow the arrow to slide up over top of the anti-dry-fire tooth. This is precisely how the G2 trigger has been designed, to protect you and keep your investment safe. Even if I aggressively try and jam this arrow over top of the anti-dry-fire mechanism, the crossbow still won't fire. Here's how we demonstrate how to reset your anti-dry-fire mechanism. The first thing that we do is that we put the crossbow into the safe position, which is pushing the safety lever down. Putting the crossbow on the ground, I'm going to put my foot well into the stirrup, and I'm going to use a rope cocker. Take the rope cocker and hook it onto one side of the string, then onto the other side of the string. Now this is very soft, it's very difficult to hear, and you're only going to pull up on the rope cocker about 1/4 of an inch, and you'll hear a click. Now listen carefully, and you'll actually feel it in your hands. Are you ready? That little click was all it took to reset the anti-dry-fire. Your crossbow now is ready to be loaded and shot. Now let me demonstrate that the anti-dry-fire is ready to shoot. Anti-dry-fire is reset. I take the arrow, I slide it over top, making sure that it's seated well against the nock. Put the safety in the up position, exposing the red dot. Remember, red is dead, or red is for fire. And carefully aim the crossbow. Pull the trigger and shoot. Now the crossbow has been ready, is ready to be reshot recocked, and safely taken into the woods. I hope this eliminates the problems that you have and demonstrates how to safely reset your anti-dry-fire mechanism. Now that we're back in the shop, we've demonstrated how to reset your trigger should your anti-dry-fire device had been engaged. We reset the trigger, we put the crossbow bolt, or arrow, pardon me, back in the barrel, underneath the retention spring. We're going to eliminate 2 of the 3 things that could stop your crossbow from firing. 1, we're going to move the safety to the fire position, exposing the red dot. Remember, red is dead. Number 2, we've examined that the retention spring is functioning properly and it's pushing down on the anti-dry-fire tooth. So that's 1, 2, and 3 things that we've eliminated. The crossbow should be ready to fire. Now I do have a target at the end of the bench, so I'm going to demonstrate now that eliminating all 3 possibilities that the trigger won't function properly. I'm going to pull the trigger and the trigger functions correctly. If that doesn't solve your problem, then potentially you have some dirt or debris in the trigger mechanism, or perhaps the trigger mechanism has malfunctioned. At this point, the safest thing to do is contact your dealer and have your trigger replaced, or contact Parker and it can be repaired by a service technician.